Hey everyone, welcome on into a live edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here running through the latest on the Dirty Birds. Plus we have their schedule to look at, so we'll do a full game-by-game breakdown. Go win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for all 17 games. But before we do all that stuff, I do have a quick question for you, and then I've got an announcement to make afterwards. But shout out your city for me in the chat. Let me know where you are tuning in from. You know I love this portion of the show for a few reasons. One, shout out to the early risers, those of you that are here right from the start. And two, it is fun to see how far and wide an NFL fan base stretches. So let me know where you are tuning in from in the chat. I'll start to give some shout outs here as we let the audience build up a little bit. I've got London in the house. Boyd is in Boise, Idaho. Curtis is in California. LJ is in Decatur. Lex is in Texas. Where are you tuning in from? Beast Killer is very optimistic for the Falcons this year because everyone else is trash. Jordan is in the UK. Emrod tuning in from Dallas-Fort Worth. Emrod and Falcons Today, Reed, should be friends, both in the same neck of the woods. Beast Killer is in Tampa. 311's in Fort Lauderdale. Richie Rich is in Tampa. Evan is in Columbus, Missouri. Columbus, Mississippi. Josh in Mississippi. Drew's in Georgia, and Josh in Mississippi as well. Nicholas in Warsaw, Poland. Dzień dobry, kochania. All right. I speak a little Polish. So I do have some bittersweet news to share. Probably a little bit more bitter for you than for me, but Friday, May 23rd, next Friday, will be my last day working at Chat Sports and my last day on Falcons Today. Very bittersweet. I'm making a complete career change altogether. So I'm excited for the new chapter that's in front of me. That's the sweet part of this. But the bitter part is I've loved this job. I've had this job for 4 years, and I've loved the relationships that have been, created in the chat with you guys during our live show, during our watch parties, in the comment section from our regular videos. And I'm not, excited for moving on from that part of my life, but I am excited for what is in store for me next. So altogether, a bittersweet announcement, but right now it definitely feels more bitter than sweet because I've got, so many great memories with all of you guys over the years, and I've really enjoyed talking about this team with you. So I will miss, this part of the job by far the most. The interactions that I've had with everyone, the relationships built, like I said, with all of you guys. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy since it's just a YouTuber and I'm just talking to a camera right now, but I know on the other side of that, there's, thousands of people that tune in every single week, and I'm really appreciative and thankful for all of the support you guys have shown me. But next Friday will be my last day, as I've just decided altogether to make a complete career change. So I'm not going to a different outlet or anything like that. I've loved everything that I've had here at Chat Sports, but just felt like this was the best, next step for me when looking at the next few years of my life. So there it is. Had to kind of rip the Band-Aid off. I did want to share that first on our live show because shout out to those of you that tune in for our live show, right? To me, those are the biggest fans of the channel, so I felt like you guys deserve to know first. So here's what we have coming up on today's show. Really appreciate all the kind messages I'm seeing right now in the chat, especially from my burner, Matthew Petey fan. I'm sorry. When I decided to make this change and people were asking me about what's going to be the toughest part, I was like, well, Matthew Petey fan's going to have a really tough day when this news comes out. Time and the Buckeye. There are a lot of people who are, sending some really kind messages in there, so I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. This was not an easy decision. It's not even a decision that I knew I was going to make, 2 months ago. But an opportunity, was presented to me, and it was in a career field that I've always had a passion for, like this one. So I felt like if there was a time in my life to kind of make that jump, this was the time to do it. And I'll miss you guys. So don't have much more to say other than that right now. I'll have a more kind of in-depth, detailed breakdown of everything next Friday for my last show. But for now, that's the news. So we do have a fun show. I like a fun show planned out for you guys today, including a mailbag, which we'll get to in about 35, 40 or so minutes. So if you have a question you would like to ask, super chat to get on screen, skip the line, we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see, or just use hashtag Falcons. So that's what we have in store today. Reed, we've got 3 good segments. We'll tell them all about fanatics and all that good stuff. All right. I can't even look at the chat right now because I'm not going to cry, but I feel like I might cry if I see some more of these really, just pulling on my heartstrings right now. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I mean, longtime viewer, first time commenting, just wanting to say thanks for sharing all the ups and downs with us after all these seasons. Yeah, it's a shame that there were not more ups than downs, but I really appreciate that. I'm always, fascinated by this subsection of the viewers that never comment but view, because if I were you, I'd probably be more like that too, where I would love the show, but I don't think I'd be a frequent commenter because that's not usually my social media habits. So I know that group of people exist. I just have no idea who you are. Evan, thank you so much. Curtis, I know, not leaving at a great time with the Falcons defense, hopefully getting right on track. Mark, appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Next Friday is the last day, so we still have, a week to talk about the 2025 Falcons defense, hopefully not letting us down one last time. But I am ready to jump into today's show. We do have a mailbag, so get those questions in right now. Use hashtag Falcons or super chat. Like I said, if you super chat, you skip the line, and we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see. So if you have a question, a take, an idea, super chat, and Reed will throw that up for everyone watching to see. Okay, who's going to predict our free agents and draft picks? So, Eric, you're definitely going to love the goodbye montage that we put together next Friday for my last episode. Rick, is someone going to take over the Falcons channel? Rick, very good question. That was a question that I was going to give a more in-depth answer to next week. But the answer is yes. I don't know who. It might be someone else here at Chat Sports, but it could very well be you. So if you would like to potentially stand, in my spot in the future, there are hirings being made at Chat Sports right now. So I invite everyone watching that thinks they can do this job better than me or as good as me, because I know a lot of you have said some really mean stuff to me over the years. So if you think you can do this job, by all means, apply. It's a very fun job. I'm not leaving this job because I dislike the job. I'm just leaving it to go up, and climb a completely different ladder altogether. All right. Are we ready to get into our first segment? Okay. Here we go. Let's talk all about, I won't let the cat out of the bag. Here we go. The word of the day for today is stubbornness. That was the word that jumped out to me the most in a new article about why in the world is Kirk Cousins still on the Falcons roster. And you might be saying to yourself, why in the world are we still talking about Kirk Cousins? And listen, I'm guilty of this because I'm the one doing the talking right now. But at the same time, I do relate to all of you when it comes to I'm just sick and tired of seeing more Kirk Cousins stuff. But I am looking for an ending to this story. And with every new update we get, I feel like that at least gives us a better picture as to when that ending may come. Whether it's an ending of a trade, a release, or just he's staying put, and that's that. But right now it feels like it's very uneven ground as to what the future holds for the Falcons and number 18. But ESPN's Dan Graziano talked about some of the big questions that everyone's asking right now, including, why the hell is Kirk Cousins still on the Falcons roster? And here's what he said, and the word stubbornness really jumped out to me in 2 ways. So, here's what Graziano wrote. 1 second. So why didn't the Falcons cut bait here? Stubbornness likely had something to do with it. They signed Cousins for $100 million in guaranteed money 14 months ago, and team ownership wasn't thrilled about the idea of releasing him after dueling out all that money for 14 not-so-great games in 2024. A couple of thoughts here, because I think surface level, that should not be very surprising. I don't look at that as like, we have the answer, stubbornness. But I do think that gives us a bit of a clue along the path of how is Kirk Cousins still on this team's roster with so much that has unfolded over the last couple of months. And the first thought I had when reading that was, how much did Arthur Blank meddle? Right? Dan's talking about how much money they gave him for 14 not-so-great games. And I'm starting to think about it as more of a buyer than as a customer. And I wonder if Arthur Blank told Terry and told Raheem, I didn't just give this guy $100 million for you to release him after one season. I hired you guys to put together the best roster and then to coach that roster. You asked for Kirk Cousins. I gave you the money for it. Now you're going to figure it out. And from one perspective, I can understand how an owner would feel like that. He gave a lot of money. He probably doesn't want to cut bait that quickly. On the other hand, I mean, what's done is done. It was a bad decision looking back, but two wrongs don't make a right. Holding on to Kirk as a hostage just because you made a bad decision to sign him in the first place doesn't make that signing any better. So I think what we might be seeing here is some stubbornness from Arthur Blank, because Kirk Cousins met with Arthur. And now that I think about that meeting, I really start to wonder, was that meeting done because Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris told Kirk, listen, dude, we have no issue with trading you or releasing you, but we don't have permission to do so. The big man, El Jefe, Arthur Blank, he said, you're stuck here. So if you want to go somewhere else, we're fine to do that. The issue is we don't have permission from above. So our suggestion would be go talk to Arthur yourself. Try and get permission from him. Reason with him. And if he signs off on it, we'll get moving on a trade. Just a theory. Just a theory. More from Graziano. And when it came time to talk trade, and the Falcons were asking interested teams to pay a significant portion of that remaining $37.5 million in guaranteed money. This to me just seems more of like reasoning and evidence to believe my theory of Arthur Blank is meddling, and if there is going to be some type of move, the only way you're going to get Blank on board is if this new team takes on a lot of that guaranteed cash to Kirk. I think Blank is looking at this from a business perspective. And maybe that's not even the best way to phrase it, because you could say it's good business to move on from Kirk. Businesses do that all the time, where they just cut bait. So how about Blank is looking at this from, I gave him $100 million perspective. That's probably the most straightforward way to say, I gave him that much money. I didn't give him that much money for 14 games. So either someone else is going to pay some of that money, or he's staying put, and you guys got to figure it out. My theory. As for the sunk cost already, Kirk's got a 2025 cap hit of $40 million. Michael Penix, FYI, is $5.2 million. So that comes out to $45.2 million, give or take a few $100,000. It's not a small amount, but it's not an inconceivable amount. And also, we're at the stage of the offseason now where, yeah, it's a huge cap hit for your backup, but you've already figured out your finances. I don't think Terry Fontenot's going to wake up tomorrow and be like Catherine O'Hara from Home Alone 2 of like, we did it again, like, oh my God, screaming, Kirk's got a $40 million cap hit. That's not new information. They've already made all their roster moves this offseason, knowing that. It's not like because they release him now, they call Grady Jarrett up and go, funny story. We've got the room now. Come on back. Pack your shit up in Chicago. You're moving back south. So, while it is a huge number for your backup quarterback, what's done is done. Could you have operated differently knowing you wouldn't have Kirk Cousins on your books? Yes and no. In a vacuum, yes, but you still have the dead money. And that wasn't going to change, whether he's on your roster or not. You could designate him as a post-June 1 release, and that would have given you some cap savings. But you don't get those cap savings until after June 1st. That doesn't help you out in March when you want to spend that money. All right, before we move on to the second half of today's episode, who do you think is closer to a championship? I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. Like, going into the year, like, let's say the MLB season, I would say the Braves for sure. I picked them to win the division. But with them getting off to a slow start this year, and the Falcons, I feel like, kind of having a little bit of like a momentum in the offseason, do you think Atlanta is going to get a Super Bowl parade before another World Series parade? I want to say Braves still, but if Penix is the guy, he can turn things around real quick. We see that all the time in the NFL. Remember at the beginning I said the word of the day is stubbornness? There's another reason why I picked this word for today, and it's not just because of Arthur Blank. Well, not just because of Kirk Cousins and Arthur Blank. I saw this comment from D. Will, who said, "We'll never forgive Terry for sabotaging the Bill Belichick hire." And so I'm going to bring back the word stubbornness for two people, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Blank. But this time it's actually probably for the better, because for their stubbornness, it led to Atlanta not pursuing Bill Belichick, right? Fontenot did not want to have someone come in that was going to either clean house in a way or reduce Fontenot's role or roster control. And so because of that stubbornness from Blank and Fontenot to not embrace a dramatic change and really shake things up, now they don't have to deal with Jordan, as PMT called her, right? They don't have to have the circus that is Bill Belichick and his girlfriend parading around social media and anywhere with a camera and getting a lot of bad publicity and making UNC fans really wonder, is this guy even going to be here for TCU in week 1? So that stubbornness, well, it might be, hurting you right now because Arthur Blank won't move on from Kirk Cousins and is insistent on holding on to a hostage. That same stubbornness might have avoided Atlanta having to deal with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend Jordan. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Having said all that, I'll go back to what the point I wanted to make earlier, which is when it comes to Raheem Morris and, whether or not this is the right guy for the job anyway, I'm not willing to make a definitive decision on Raheem just yet. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to excuse some of the malpractices he had in his first season. Timeout being one. Also, hiring 2 coordinators to be play callers that had no experience as play callers. That's a bit of a red flag. Raheem's been a head coach before, but it was nearly 15 years ago. He should have brought someone in that had a little bit more experience. Instead, he rolled with Jimmy Lake, a buddy of his from LA, who had Judon dropping in coverage. And you could see what Judon had to say about that in an article that came out last week. But the stubbornness, I guess, avoided Belichick and Jordan to Atlanta. I mean, we have no idea if things would have been the same with that duo in Atlanta versus going to college. But if they don't break up, fair to say there probably would have been some turbulence with that power couple coming down to the Atlanta Falcons organization. So would you rather have Belichick or Raheem Morris? Knowing what you know right now, right? Would you stick with Raheem after year 1? Or knowing what you know about Belichick and his baggage, would you rather go with that? For me, I think I want to go with Belichick. The baggage is not good. But I feel like Raheem Morris in year 1 underachieved. And it's only year 1, so like I said, I'm not going to make definitive, sweeping conclusions. But those were mistakes that kind of terrified me. The inability to manage the clock if you told that to a Bears fan about Matt Eberflus in his first year in Chicago, they could tell you he'll figure it out. He never did. That's what cost him his job ultimately. He got fired after the Thanksgiving loss in Detroit when they had a timeout and they let time expire. So that's a major red flag. Like one that's hard to just chalk up to, just an accident. Because it happened not once, but twice in the same game at the end of the half. That paired with a shaky DC hire at best. And then an offensive coordinator hire that got better as the season went along. But that week 1 game plan for Pittsburgh was atrocious. It was so predictable. When Kirk was in the pistol, they did that. When Kirk was in the pistol, they ran it. When he was in the shotgun, they threw it. And as the game went along, it didn't take hard for opposing defenses to know what was coming at them. So those are red enough flags for me to go, yeah, I think I'd want to see what's behind door number 2. Before we sign off, I do have a show update. Friday, May 23rd will be my last day at Chat Sports and my last day on Falcons Today. I've decided to make a complete career change altogether, so I'll be leaving the sports media industry. It's a passion of mine with a new opportunity that was presented to me that I'm very excited for, but obviously a very bittersweet type of announcement to make because I've loved what I've done over the last 4 years, and I've loved talking about this team with you. So we'll have another week or so, but unfortunately my time at Falcons Today, my watch will be ending soon. And I don't know what's in store next for the channel, for the host and whatnot, but we'll have some more announcements and a bigger breakdown on the entire thing on the 23rd. But let me just say right now, thank you to everyone who has been with us, for a month, a year, 2 years, however long you've been subscribed to the channel or viewing our content for. I really appreciate all the love and support you've shown. All right, to wrap it all up here, if you want to get a Jalen Walker jersey, if you want to get a James Pierce jersey, they're still available at Fanatics when you go to chatsports.com/ATL Rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. Really appreciate those of you that support the channel by using this link, chatsports.com/ATL Rookies. All right. Michael, I love these comments. You were biased. Bias in what direction? Because I get told I'm biased too positively, and then the next comment is you're too negative. You just can never make everyone happy. I see we got 2 super chats here, so we'll throw those on screen for everyone watching right now. Mason B, Boomsticks, I'm sorry, guys. Grand Limousine, oh no, Petey, don't go. I know. I really appreciate all the support you've shown, Grand Limousine. In a week and a half, I'll be in Atlanta for my wedding, and there was only one, limousine company to contact for my busing needs. So shout out to Grand Limousine. Go support them because they've been the unofficial limousine, sponsor of Falcons Today. Grand Limousine, thank you so much. Wow, did not see that coming. Gonna miss you. It makes 2 of us in a way because it's May 15th. April 1st, I didn't even see this coming. It was something that was offered to me, and I'll go into more detail about this on the 23rd. It's not a big secret, but I just feel like if I say it now, then I gotta say it every single time. So rather than, keep repeating myself, I'll just spit it all out at once on the last episode. But for me hosting, the channel's not going to die, actually. So yeah, a new opportunity was presented to me in a career field that I'm very passionate about, just like this one. And I, fortunate enough to jump from one career to another, and very smoothly, and very excited, but obviously very sad to be leaving all the hard work we've done behind. Next up on the show, I want to look at my record prediction for the Dirty Birds in 2025. We'll go week by week, and I'll go win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So if you are excited for that, show me by liking the video. We have nearly 200 people tuned in, only have 45 likes. If 5 more people can like the video, I'd greatly appreciate it. Aiden with a $10 super chat. Yeah, it's a great idea. Mark, are you moving to another job or are you getting fired? I want the tea. Mark, I love the honesty. I'm not getting fired. When I told my bosses about the change, they were, I think the first words they said were that, well, that's a surprise. So I'm not getting fired. Um, just moving to a different, I'm not even going to like a competitor or anything like that. I'm just switching career fields altogether. But I will say I'm not going from this career field to like accounting. It's a career field that's kind of unique like this one that I've always had a passion for. And if you've been a long time channel watcher, you might be able to sniff out what my other passions are because I mention it from time to time on the show. Aiden, thank you, Petey, for hosting Falcons today. Been watching since 2022. We'll miss you, Petey. Aiden, thank you so much. I'm going to be in Dallas for all of 2025, but talks in the in the works of relocating to Atlanta in 2026. So could be going to a Falcons game with you. Mailbag coming up in a little bit. So if you have a question, use hashtag Falcons or super chat. You saw if you super chat, you get on screen for all 174 people watching right now to see. So a great way to support the channel and, get your question, your take, your idea up for everyone watching. We have one more super chat. Let's hit that real quick, and then we'll jump into our next segment. Gabriel, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Not a commenter for NBC. Rusty Moore, Alexa, play See You Again by Wiz Khalifa. Best of luck, PD. It was dope. Any socials we can follow you on? No, you can follow me on Twitter. Reed can throw my Twitter at the bottom of the screen in just a second here. I've never been very good at Twitter, so I'll still, be on it and everything, but I've always been better at YouTube than Twitter. It's just never been my strength to build a Twitter following. I've tried, unsuccessfully, but I've tried. Oh, it's not in there? Well, Matthew PD is my Twitter. No OnlyFans. No OnlyFans. Okay. So that's my DMs are always open. I kind of pride myself on being public online. Like I don't like people that feel like they're too good to reply to DMs or reply to tweets. So at any point in time, DM me, tweet at me, whatever, and I'll be happy to hit you back up. Rusty, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, let's pick Rusty. We're gonna add 6 names to the wheel right now. Okay, we'll add the Willis Show. Yeah, the Willis Show, Rusty Moore Jr. Okay, Willis Show. Yep. We could do Gabriel. If anyone wants my job, Chat Sports is hiring. So apply at Chat Sports. Just Google Chat Sports jobs, and it'll be one of the first things that pop up. And give it a few weeks or months, and this could be you standing in front of the camera. I'll tell you right now, it's not as easy as you might think. Keeping a conversation going with yourself is more challenging than I gave others credit for before I joined this space. Not a beer drinking competitor, but I would like that. Add Mark C for our next wheel spin. Yep. Logan, thank you so much. Logan 707. One more. Josh MC. Thanks so much, Zach. All right, here we go. Let's do my prediction for the Atlanta Falcons 2025 schedule. So, game by game. I think at one point I did a video predicting the Falcons schedule of like, I did something like that. It did not do well views-wise. So, we did not, no, I don't think, maybe, but I feel like there was something I tried like 2 or 3 years ago. All right. Record prediction. Okay, we'll put like Falcons today or something. Yeah. All right, here we go. 1 second, just get my. Yeah. Oh no, you go to the other one. Sorry, I the next L3 in the script. I just accidentally typed it twice. Here we go. Coming up on today's show, I want to go through all 17 games for the Falcons 2025 schedule and give out game-by-game predictions. What I think is going to happen. Here, we'll start over. This got all screwed up. Okay, take two. Not quite. You got a colon in between prediction and record. Just make that a space and we're ready. You guys get to see how the sausage is made during the live show. There you go. All right. Yep. Okay, take two. You ready? Let's go through the entire Atlanta Falcons 2025 schedule and go game by game, giving out wins and losses. Now, before we look at the schedule, I do think we should look at how I did last year to see if I'm any good at this. Last year, I'm not saying I had the Falcons winning 12 games. I'm saying in my 17 game-by-game predictions, I went 12-5 in terms of the accuracy of correctly predicting a win or a loss. The season before that, I was 14-3 in accurately predicting win or loss. I didn't predict them to go 14-3. Very different prediction. Just I went 14-3 in all my game-by-game predictions. So now, let's look at my predictions for the Falcons 2025 season, where they open things up at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've got that as a loss. I've got it as a loss. It's Michael Penix, week 1. Maybe some of the jitters a little bit. I mean, not his first NFL start, but his first time starting in week 1. First time going into the season as the starter. And I'm going to go with the Buccaneers and their experience and coming off the success they had at the end of last year. So week 1, I'm going to say loss. I know I'm already pissing off a lot of people, but you can see the last 2 years have been pretty accurate. Week 2 in Minnesota, I've got this as a win on Sunday Night Football. J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings play week 1 on Monday night in Chicago. Back-to-back primetime games, way too big of a spotlight for the more or less rookie quarterback up in Minnesota. So I'll go with the win for the Dirty Birds. Week 3 in Carolina, I'm going to say loss. This is probably going to catch you off guard, having them lose 2 out of their first 3 weeks, especially coming against divisional opponents. But I think the Panthers are going to be better in 2025 than the last couple of seasons. And on the road, I don't think that's a gimme anymore. For one, we know how Week 18 went last year. So I'll go with the loss there. Week 4, Jaden Daniels, revenge matchup for Penix and company. I've got this as a win for the Falcons. I think the Commanders actually take a step back this year. One, it'd be very difficult to match what they did last year, going all the way to the NFC Championship game. But I think the Falcons at home bounce back after a road loss to Carolina and give Daniels a loss in Week 4. Week 5, they have a bye. Disgusting. They're going to play in Berlin in Week 10, which we'll get to in a moment. When you play overseas, you are offered the opportunity to have your bye the next week. Now, I don't know for sure, but I thought when you played internationally, you get a bit of a say in when your bye is. Maybe, maybe not. I think you get a say into whether or not you have it the very next week. If you opt against that, then it could be at any other week. But I thought, hey, since we're playing you in Berlin, you get to pick what week you have your bye. This year, you're seeing a ton of teams play overseas and not have their bye the next week. So maybe a change of thinking of how to work the bye when going across the pond. But after their very early bye, they have the Bills at home on Monday night, back-to-back primetime games. I'm going to say loss. Not a great start for the Dirty Birds. What are they at this point now? 2-3 through 5 weeks of the season. So I'll say loss for Buffalo. Week 7, they've got the Niners on Sunday night over in Santa Clara. Back-to-back losses. And now people are really getting mad in the comment section because the Falcons are 2-4 going into Week 8 against the Miami Dolphins, which is a win. I'm going to say this is a win for the Falcons. They get to 3-4 on the season, approaching. That's the halfway mark of the year, so a lot of football left, but they got off to a strong start last year. We saw how that fizzled out, so you're not dead at 3-4. The 2024 Buccaneers can tell you that. How many wins, though, for Atlanta this upcoming season? I'm going to give you my response at the end of the video when we go through all 17 games, but let me know in the comment section how many games you think the Falcons are going to win this year. So 3-4 going into Week 9, and I'm going to say in New England, that's a win right there. Now they're starting to get back on track. Now they're starting to stack win after win here, following a back-to-back NFC East win. Then they've got the Colts in Berlin. Week 10, I go with a loss. I just think this could be one of those frisky Colt games, right? Shane Steichen and the boys, I don't know who's going to be quarterback for them. I don't like either quarterback option for them, Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. But we saw the Falcons last year around this point lose some games that they probably should not have lost. Cough, cough, the Saints game. So I'll say a loss in Germany. They come back home after that game. They play the Panthers. That's a win right there. So now they're getting back closer to 500. They got Carolina and New Orleans, 2 straight home games in the division. Make it 2 straight wins for the Falcons, winning 4 out of their last 5 from weeks 12 all the way to week 8. Week 13 against the Jets on the road, loss. Yeah, I don't think Atlanta is going to string together that massive of a win streak, so I'll balance the ties with the Week 13 loss. Going into the final 5 weeks of the season, the Falcons sitting there right at 500, I think, and Week 14, Seattle comes to town, and they lose because Atlanta knocks them off. I always find it funny when people give like score predictions for all 17 games, but I'll give one for Week 14. This gives me major 28-20 vibes. How about a 4th and goal stop? AJ Terrell breaks it up from the 5, turnover on downs, victory formation. Week 15 at Tampa, Thursday night, win. And now the Falcons are starting to join the conversation of teams you don't want to face in the playoffs. They were 3-4 halfway through the season. Look at them now. Week 16, they play the Arizona Cardinals on the road. I'm going to say loss. I think the Cardinals are going to be a good team this upcoming season. And going, back-to-back road games, sure, the extra rest playing on Thursday night, but I'll still take the loss right there. Then the last 2 games of the season, Rams, Monday night at home. I'll make it a win. Give me a win against the Rams, and then they sweep the Aints in Week 18, and they close out the year winning 4 out of their last 5. So let's go back to Week 1, and then Reed will count all the wins together here for the Falcons in my 2025 prediction video. So opening up the season at home against the Buccaneers, I've got that as a loss, but 2-2 after the first kind of a quarter of the season. Then you've got weeks 5 through 8. They go from 2-2 to 2-3, 2-4, 3-4. 3-4 going into the second half of the season. They follow up that 3-4 win with 4-4, 4-5, 5-5, 6-5, 6-6. They're in the hunt, baby. And then they get hot. 7-6, 8-6, 8-7, 9-7, 10-7. That's a 10-7 team no one wants to play all of a sudden. They were 3-4 in the blink of an eye. They're 10-7, and they're hosting a playoff game in the Benz. Maybe a clunky way of getting there, but I'll let my track record from the last 2 years speak for itself. So I'll go 10-7 for the Falcons in 2025, and the playoff drought ends. It's tied with the Carolina Panthers for the longest playoff drought in the NFC. Before we get on out of here, quick reminder, Jalen Walker and James Pierce jerseys are available at chatsports.com/ATL rookies. If you would like to get your hands on one, I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. It's a great way to support the channel while also getting yourself a brand new Falcons jersey. Now, before we sign off, I do have an announcement to share. Some of you might have already heard or seen this, but a quick show update. This upcoming Friday, or next Friday, May 23rd, depending on when you're watching this, it will be my last day at Chat Sports. It will be my last day hosting Falcons Today. I'll make some periodic announcements leading up to the 23rd because I know not everyone watches every video, but I've decided to make a complete career change altogether. I've loved my job, and I've loved hanging out with you guys on a daily basis for the last couple of years and covering this team and talking about this team with you. But at this point in my life, I had an opportunity that I was very excited about, and so I'm making a complete change altogether. I'll give more details and updates on the 23rd, but didn't want to blindside anyone on that day. So bittersweet, but Friday the 23rd will be my last day hosting Falcons Today. Let's spin the wheel to give 2 claps out to a viewer from our live show. All right, here we go. Gabriel, 2 claps for you, Gabe. 1, 2. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. We will sign off, and we'll see everyone next time. Appreciate it, Eamon K. Vincent, thank you so much. Trucker Mike, this is going to be one of the biggest casualties. Love you, ZD. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. I don't want to let the emotions flutter out 8 days before my last day, because then I'll just be an absolute wreck by the 23rd. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it more than you realize. I really do. I wish I had, the best words to articulate that, but it does mean more than you guys will ever know. PD will get. Will we get a show of you hosted oiled up before? No, the oiled up show is not going to happen. Actually, you know what else is not going to happen? The show I filmed yesterday about the initial schedule leak that was wrong, and I was so close to publishing it, but my gut told me this feels fishy. So thank God I did not, because it was the wrong schedule. And that asshole on Twitter, you know who you are, do not appreciate you. Yeah. Let's guess where Trucker Mike is. So we have a mailbag coming up next. If you have a question you'd like to ask, use #Falcons or Super Chat. Super Chat, you skip the line like you've heard me say a million times. Your question, your take, your idea on screen for everyone watching to see, guaranteed. Okay. Otherwise, let's start guessing where Trucker Mike is. Trucker Mike, I remember last time you said that your territory has expanded. What state was he? Was he in Illinois? No. What state was he in last time? Oh, Wisconsin. He was in Wisconsin. What do you think? I'll go with Iowa today. I'll stay in that Midwest area. Reed is going to go with... You said Illinois last week, so this time you want to say Tennessee. Good choice. Great state. I'll go with Iowa. Reed is going to go with Tennessee. Let me know, indeed, the volunteer state, where you believe Trucker Mike, our resident trucker, is driving through right now, and we'll see if anyone can get it correct. Josh says Indiana. Rusty is going to go with, I'll give you all of Illinois. I won't limit you to the Chicagoland area. ZD says Florida. Oh, ZD. We'll include that in our mailbag. But yeah, get your questions in. #Falcons or Super Chat. Minnesota, Michigan, Gabriel. Imagine if it's Alaska. My first year at Chat Sports, I was doing a watch party, and we had a raffle winner from Alaska. And that's not, terribly wild, of a story to share, but it's about where they were in Alaska. When you look at a map of Alaska, I'm going to try to do it backwards for you guys, right? You got the little bit that goes along Canada, right? And then it gets super wide. You get the Fairbanks and things like that. And then as it keeps going towards like Russia, you got that trail of islands. You know what I mean? Like tiny little dots that are part of Alaska. This guy was on one of those tiny little dots. It was a town of like 10 people, it looked like. All they had when I looked at, when he sent me his address, was at a U.S. post office. I would even call it an airport, like an airstrip. And I think one restaurant. So that was by far one of the most. I've mailed things to Germany. I've mailed things to the UK, all over the world. That one definitely stands out to me. Okay, Trucker Mike, let us know what state you are in. Chime in on the chat right now. Where is Trucker Mike? And then we'll get right into our mailbag. Trucker Mike, oh, Midwest for sure. Okay. I'm sticking with Iowa. I'm going to stick with Iowa. Come on, Trucker Mike. Let us know. Keg stand might be tough just because I don't know how we're going to get a keg up here. Yeah, that will be a difficult, thing to accomplish. Yeah, Jason's joining you in the Volunteer State. Josh is going with the Hoosier State. Vincent says Nebraska. Where are you at, Trucker Mike? Let me know. He likes to do that. He likes to out the winner. Cliff, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Cliff, let me know if you got something in the mail, because I put something in the mail for you for a while ago. Gabriel's going to go with Oklahoma. I hope to keep Skinny Petey. Wisco again. It's kind of like roulette. Whenever you walk up to a roulette table and you're like, oh, it was just on 20. Well, I'm not going to bet 20. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get into our mailbag. Yeah. I am ready. It is mailbag time here on Falcons Today. I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which airs every single Thursday. Come back next Thursday as maybe you've already heard, maybe not, but next Thursday will be my last live show, as it will be my last week at Chat Sports and covering the Falcons channel here. So we'll save some of those details for later on, but let's get into the mailbag, starting with Gabriel. What's up, Petey? Wanted to ask you about your opinion on the Falcons having 5/6 primetime games. Does this mean that the NFL senses something? Yes, but it does not mean those senses are always correct. How many times have we seen the NFL toss the Bears into a million and the Jets? Although the Jets, they really took advantage of with Rodgers. But the two teams that come to mind as examples of pumped up with primetime games that did not deliver happened to the Bears like more than once. Big market team in Chicago, and they've had some potential over the last couple of seasons, more so around like that 2018 era. But more recently, I think about the 2022 Denver Broncos. That was Russell Wilson's first year in Denver. The Broncos were filled with primetime games, and they sucked. So the NFL, I think, sees something in Atlanta for sure. They also have not gotten a lot of prime time out of Atlanta. It wasn't too long ago the Falcons and the Cardinals in 2022 were the only two teams to not play in a primetime game. And the NFL, unlike the NBA, does not care about your market. The most primetime games this year went to Kansas City. Forget the Chiefs. Just think about it from a city market standpoint. 7 primetime games to Kansas City. The NFL does not care about how big your TV ratings are. If you're a good team, they have shown that people are going to watch. And I think the NFL is banking on two things with the Falcons. One, them being a good team. Two, them trying to rejuvenate a good team in a good to great market. Could be a double win for the NFL. Gabriel, great question. Ammon K, are you concerned that the Saints will be so bad they will get the number 1 pick and be good after that? I mean, sure, but like the Browns have had the number 1 pick a lot. So have the Jags. If anything, the Saints are probably going to have like a Jets effect where they win a game late and get the 2nd overall pick and miss out on Trevor Lawrence and get Zach Wilson instead. But I can't say that I'm concerned about this because I don't even know who's going to be that 1st overall pick next year. Like, we knew it would be Caleb Williams, right? Arch Manning's the popular name, but his plan was to do 4 years of college. And next year will be year 3 in Austin. Now, maybe with the Saints on the clock, his hometown team, that could persuade him to leave early. But I can't say I'm concerned right now, and neither should you. Jack Sherwood, Is there an update on Asante Samuel? This has been a name that has been highly discussed amongst many fan bases and teams as a good free agent target. The update is that he suffered a shoulder injury early in 2024, caused him to miss almost the entire season after the first 4 games, or missing the rest of the season after the first 4 games. The fear is that the shoulder injury might be more of like a stinger, and it's a chronic stinger, and it might lead to more neck problems. So I think Samuel is unsigned for one reason and one reason alone: medical concerns. At some point, unless he just retires altogether, someone's going to give him a chance, no matter how big of a red flag it might be from a medical standpoint. But I'm guessing right now Samuel is being patient. He wants to get all the medical facts together, and then from there go, hey, I've got a clean bill of health so I can get more money. Versus, I can take this really cheap contract from insert team and then in a month have a clean bill of health, and I could have gotten way more if I just waited a little bit longer. So that's kind of the latest on Asante Samuel. There's a neck injury that is delaying things for him. All right, name your favorite Falcons DB. Just scroll on down the comment section, name your favorite one. Would love to see what kind of names we get out of all of our great viewers. We're going to look at the rest of the mailbag questions in just a second here, but Jalen Walker and James Pierce jerseys are available at chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get a new Falcons jersey, use this link to support the channel and get a jersey for your new favorite player on defense. Vincent, I could see the Falcons versus Buccaneers being America's game of the week in week 1. We're going to look right now, NFL week 1 schedule, because I don't think so. I can see the thought process behind it, but here we go. Let's look at week 1. We start things off whole week, in Philly on Thursday with Dallas coming to town, then Brazil between the Chiefs and Chargers. But actual Sunday slate, Lions-Packers. Lions-Packers, I think, is going to be America's game of the week. I think it's already been announced, too. That's the Fox game, I'm pretty sure. That's 3:25 Central, 4:25 Eastern. Only 4 games in the afternoon window. 2 at 3:05 and 2 at 3:25. I wish they had one more. But, all right. So, it's going to be Lions-Packers. Taryn, we will miss you, man. Can we also get the Falcons, get the record prediction? I put a record prediction video out, and I've got Atlanta going 10-7. Winning 4 out of their last 5. Hopefully, I can't say for sure whether or not that means they win the division, but hopefully hosting a playoff game next January. Taryn, thank you so much. Really appreciate your kind words and your support. ZD, to wrap it all up here, will the coup incident still live rent-free in your mind after you stop being the host? Also, we are beating the Jets and Cardinals. There's a lot of things I love about this job. One of them is the annual tradition of record prediction video, and everyone gets super mad that I picked them to lose to a team they view as inferior, as if this is not the NFL where it's any given Sunday. But sure, they can beat the Jets and Cardinals. Yes, the Younghoe coup incident will live rent-free in my mind forever. When I tell people about this job in the future and describe what I did, I'm sure I'll bring up some stories as anecdotes to paint a better picture. And one of them will be, I'd go live for NFL free agency, and the whole chat convinced me that Younghoe coup was released because Twitter was down. So, yes, ZD for sure. We'll just run through some of the super chats we got during our live mailbag as well. Shout out to Grand Limousine. Thank you so much for all of your support over the years. Kraft, going to miss you guys a lot as I get ready for a complete change altogether. But thank you so much. Aiden, you're the man. You've been here for such a long time. Thank you. Rusty Moore. If it's not "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa, it's the song from Green Day of life grabs you by the wrist and tells you where to go. So make the best. They always play it's something unforgettable, but in the end it's right. I hope you. Time of your life. Is it Green Day? I think it's Green Day. Yeah. Time of your life. That's like the most iconic middle school, at least for me when I graduated middle school, like video montage song when everyone's crying. Um, Not me, big boy middle school. All right, Rusty, thank you so much, though. Really appreciate it. There will be no oiled up show. I like where your head's at, trying to sneak that in as like a, hey, you have to do this before you leave. But yeah, that one's not in the cards. That is for your own good. If you'd like, though, Jack Sperry, who hosts the Steelers channel at Chat Sports, he had a viewer send in a super chat big enough for him to get oiled up. That was really weird. But that's on YouTube. I'll tell you when. It was a Steelers watch party. It was after the game was over, and it was late in the season. So if you want to spend the man hours, I don't remember the game, but go to some Steelers watch parties from Steelers Talk, scrub all the way to the end, and just look for a moment when he has a shirt off. And then you can see a Chat Sports host oiled up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate all the kind words. And again, this upcoming Friday, May 23rd, will be my last day hosting this channel, working at Chat Sports. So, yeah. So, this upcoming Friday, May 23rd, will be my last day hosting this channel, and working at Chat Sports. Very bittersweet. Excited for the next chapter, which I'll share with you guys then. But definitely right now, a lot of sadness thinking about all the great things I'm leaving behind here. Lav S, I'm sorry. Trey, I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie. When I was, trying to make a decision as to whether or not to, take this new opportunity or stay put here, we're kind of putting together a pros and cons list in my head. One of the biggest cons for leaving was I didn't want to leave you guys. And that ended up being one of the reasons as to why I left, because I had to make the decision of what's best for me. Now, I don't want to upset people, and I don't want to abandon people. And at the end of the day, I had to be a bit of a college football coach and think about myself and be selfish, and decided I'm going to make the change because I can't stay here if it's not for the right reasons. Josh, I was going to share next Friday just so I don't have to keep repeating myself, but I guess I'll just share it right now. Who cares? If you've been a longtime viewer of the channel, you might have been able to pick up on a passion of mine that's not Chat Sports and the NFL and sports and whatnot. It's trivia. I host trivia at a bar in Dallas, and I've actually been hosting trivia there for a couple of years. My friend from college started a trivia company 5-6 years ago. It's very successful, and he offered me a full-time job to come work with him. And I've always loved trivia, and I felt like this was a good time in my life to make a change and make a bit of a gamble. So I'll have more updates on that, but that's the next career field. So fortunately not going to another place where I'll be covering the Falcons still, but I'm very excited for this, as I've loved sports and I've loved trivia, and I found a way to make a living out of sports for the last 4 years, and now I've got a chance to do that hopefully with trivia for the next 4+ years. Yeah. So if you own a bar or restaurant and you want trivia, let me know. We'd be happy to help surface. Well, I mean, since we're on the topic. But I appreciate that. In fact, tonight is Chat Sports Trivia Night. So yeah. I love trivia. Trivia host in Dallas. Invest Guy, thank you so much. But Petey, we can give you weekly trivia questions if that's what it'll take. I wish. I like this job a lot for a lot of reasons. But working in sports is a different beast than being a fan of sports, right? So I'll also look forward to just being able to sit on my couch and watch football on Sundays. Not that I disliked doing watch parties, but doing a watch party is a very different way to take a game in than watching a game on TV. You got to be on. And I'm kind of excited for being off. and just being able to watch. Yeah, Reed is not. I mean, I won't speak for Reed, but I don't think he has any plans to leave. So unless it's a blind side to me too, okay, then Reed's staying here. Who's going to be the next host? I don't have a name because I don't know a name. If you would like to be the next host, though, I invite you to apply. Chat Sports is hiring, so just search Chat Sports jobs in Google. It won't be hard to find. And if you feel like, hey, I'm watching Petey make a jump from one passion of his to another, what he does has always been a passion of mine. This is a very good opportunity for you to at least submit an application. All right. Yeah. Reed says thank you. His mic's not working today. That will do it for us on today's live show. It's not going to be our last live. That will be next Thursday. So I look forward to seeing everyone then. And, of course, just throughout the week with our videos. That's not going to change. But next Friday will be the final day for me at Chat Sports. So thank you, everyone, for all of your kind words, for tuning in today. And I'll see everyone over the next few days as well.